Vikki, how could you?
How could I what? What did I do? What did I do?
It was my fault. The sound was on in your computer. Hello, everybody. What's happening? It's Sunday live haul.
What did I do?
What? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We do have a special guest today, but first, real quick, it's Sunday live haul. So a regular Sunday show. I'm Katy. This is Vikki, aka Victoria, aka the ruiner of all things, like leaving the sound on your computer, even though I was the one who was supposed to take it off. So it's really my fault, and I'm going to blame her, aka my fiance. Hello, everyone. But yes, I can see people in the chat know exactly who our special guest is. Do you want to introduce her?
At least Cheryl does.
That's right.
So this is, I know. This is Shelly. Shelly is our friend that actually works for eBay. Those of you that went to the Reseller Remix last year probably saw her around, saw her speaking on stage. You met her. That was when we got to meet her and realized that we have a lot in common and we actually really like each other. And so we've been talking and hung out at one other time. And she's actually here in town to play a little bingo, do a little gambling, hang out in Vegas in general. And so we said, hey, come. She's been watching our show. And so we said, hey, come hang out and be in our live studio audience. And then we're going to go play bingo.
It's true. It's true. So, Shelly, you work for eBay, but set eBay aside.
Mm-hmm.
At heart, you are a reseller. So tell us.
Yes.
What's your deal?
It's my obsession. It's a problem. I think all the time about buying and flipping, and literally I was having dreams about it last night. I couldn't sleep. I was so excited about coming, and then I found myself dreaming about inventory, and I'm like, this is a problem. But it's fun. It's a nice hobby where I can make some money, and it puts me closer to sellers, which I really love because that is my job. I do work on the selling team for eBay, but also just something I'm ramping up for, because when I retire in 6.5, 7 years, this is what I want to do. It kills me that I can't spend more time than I already do on selling. So.
Some dude named Brett says, tell my girl she looks great on camera.
I gave him the link. I'm like, this is what I'm going to be doing this afternoon.
Well, apparently he's watching.
So you love to resell. Tell us what a magical dream day of sourcing is for you. What do you like? Where do you go? What do you look for?
Okay. Yeah. So I love to go to estate sales. So that's my new thing. So during the COVID times, or when everything was kind of shut down, I was really doing online auctions, like with Max Sold and those places. But now that everything's kind of opening up, the in-person estate sales are back on. And so I love going through and just kind of perusing what's up for, what's going to be there.
Mm-hmm. To the point where she sent me a link last week and said, listen, This is the estate sale I buy from. Let me know if you win anything. I'll bring it with me on the plane. And I did. I bid on a few things. I got outbid. They got a little crazy, but
yeah. I was fully prepared to bring a big old suitcase and pack all of Vikki's stuff in it. But yeah, the bidding got crazy. And because in the Bay Area, people are very competitive.
I bet.
And these were some really cool vintage clothing items. It was
a closet of fantastic 60s and 70s bright patterned vintage women's dresses. And she's like, this is totally up your alley. And she's right. It's exactly what I would have bid on. And I bid pretty high for me. You guys know I'm cheap. And it still went even way higher than I expected. So I was like, all right, at some point I had to tap out. I'm like, nope, I can't do it. I can't pay $30 a dress. I can't do it.
So you don't mess with clothing. What kind of stuff are you looking for at the estate sale?
Yeah, I usually like hard goods. So what I really like is, I love vintage cross stitch kits. And one of the reasons I really like that stuff is because first off, it goes for good money if you have certain brands, and it's super easy to ship. And living on a coast, shipping's typically a little challenging. So I try and avoid heavy items. But you know what? One time, about a month ago, I was at an estate sale and they had one of those TV VCR combos, those little 13-inch ones. They wanted $15 for it. And I knew I could flip it for $150. And so I did. The next day I listed or sold it.
That's awesome.
And I just learned how to deal with heavier things.
You do. You just learn.
You figure it out. And so vintage Christmas is what I really love. Cheryl knows how much I love vintage Christmas. I always tell her if I ever was at her house, I'd be stealing everything in her house.
Because she's been buying forever.
Yeah, she'd have to check my bags as I left the house, right?
She has quite the inventory. She's been buying forever and is just starting to actually really ramp up her listing. Cheryl is in the chat. Yeah, Rambles. Yeah. She's been honestly, she's been buying as long as I've known her, but still works full time. So she's been buying like a full time reseller, but not able to list like a full time reseller yet. So she'll be good. She's going to be good with her inventory for quite a while.
Yeah. So when you retire, you plan to go and be a full time reseller, right?
Yeah. And even now, like I'm trying to think about if I doing what Vikki and Katy did is I get a house that I have extra rooms that I can have they're solely dedicated for selling and not have my office that I work out of look like I'm a hoarder because I got all my unlisted inventory and bins sitting there staring at me every day, stressing me out. But I can have it its own dedicated room. And yeah, I mean, I'm really thinking about that future because I'm dead serious about it. This is I can't even tell you how much I love it. I was telling Vikki earlier today that my happy space is just going out, and even if it's just to get out of my office for a few minutes and go to the Goodwill and just walk around the aisles, because it's like whether I buy something or not, it's my comfort zone.
Right.
It's my happy place.
Were you a reseller at all when you first started at eBay?
You can hear Ripley in the background, by the way, guys. She can hear a stranger talking and she's not in this room. So she's a little pissed.
Yeah.
So I sold here and there before I worked at eBay, just a couple of things. Like I used to work at Yahoo and I had a friend who had some nice camera equipment. He's like, hey, can you list this for me? I'll give you some money. Sure, I did it. And I actually didn't even really start selling more seriously until it was probably the summer of 2018. I had seen this group, this vintage cross stitch like bundle. This lady had 10 of them and she wanted like $3 each or $15 for all of them. So I'm like, I just said, I'm interested. I ran to her house, got them. They sold so fast and I realized, ooh, there's a little honest. So that kind of got me into the little bit of a bug to start selling. And again, in eBay, I mean, eBay encourages
Keep talking.
to sell.
Keep talking. I'm gonna go deal with the brand.
You have to give in.
So eBay encourages us to sell. And so of course I started doing it because, it's part of my job, but then I didn't realize that I would just love it so very much that, if I could do this full time, I would love to. And
that's awesome.
I'm just moving towards that direction.
I see multiple people in the chat talking about retiring to become full-time resellers. So Malice Sports Gal retires in a few years. Early retirement start reselling full-time too. So I think that happens a lot. Okay, tell us real quick before we get into our regular show, what is like, I don't know, your favorite, not necessarily like what you sold for the most, but what's your favorite thing that you ever flipped as a reseller?
My favorite things. It was funny when I was here in March and Vikki and Katy came to play bingo with me. I was sitting at bingo and there was this woman who was giving me an offer on these paintings I found. I call it from my favorite house ever. It was this horribly rundown house. Well, I ended up winning an auction of these two paintings and I paid $175 for them. Turns out they were almost 100 years old from some an airbrush tropical. They were beautiful. Well, I ended up flipping them. I paid $175. I sold both of them to the same lady for $800 each. She lived relatively close, so she just drove up and got them.
Nice.
And
you didn't have to package them. It's perfect.
And that is my like favorite thing. And I have since been back to that house for the clean outs and gotten free stuff even.
Oh, that's awesome.
Love flamingos. Flamingos, gather it up.
Yeah, repeat houses or repeat estate sales are the best.
Liz O'Kane says hi.
Hi, Liz. Miss you. Wish I was here last weekend for the shenanigans.
Okay, so before we send you to the studio audience,
we banish you to the green room couch.
I will. I'm taking Liz's spot from last week.
Why don't you give our audience a couple of your favorite bolos?
Gosh. Well, I was super excited because I found the other day, I haven't sold it yet. It'll sell. But those under the counter appliances, the space saver things. So I went to an estate sale last Saturday and I was picking up something I bought, but then they had extra stuff that they hadn't listed. And there was a vintage Mr. Coffee under the counter. It was brand new in the box, sitting in the garage, like under
$250 easily.
I have it listed for, the last one sold for 120. So I have mine listed for 130. Hasn't sold quite yet. Had some watchers on it. I'm being patient, but I was like really excited about that. And
you need to cross post that to Etsy.
I know I gotta start using other platforms. I just use
I know you
eBay.
don't have time. I know you don't, but I'm just saying that
I hear
I
ya,
sell those on
I hear
Etsy
ya.
all the time.
Oh,
Mhm.
you know what? Then maybe I will. I'll sign up for Etsy. Let's see how
And you'll
that
get
works.
more money on it.
Okay, then I'm gonna put it on Etsy and I'm gonna sell it for $200.
See-
And I'll follow up and let you know how I did.
Lori's got it figured out. My husband is 8 years older than me and will most likely retire and work for me. There you go.
There you
Perfect.
go,
There
Lori.
you go.
Love it.
All right, Shelly, thank you.
I
We're
will-
going to get to our show so that we can get out of here because
We got bingo.
Vikki just had her birthday. And so now she's ready to move on to the next stage of her life. And that's 4:45 dinner reservations and bingo afterwards.
It's
Okay.
true. So it's Father's Day. First of all, for all of our dads that might be watching the show or watching it later, I know we have almost all women in the chat, and that's okay. We love you girls. But happy Father's Day to all the fathers there that are watching this now or watching it later. Thank you for being dads. Dads are important. And so, yeah, so because it's Father's Day and it's Las Vegas and we're going to a casino, which is where we're going to do the bingo, the restaurants are super packed and super busy. So we got a 4:45 reservation. So we are having an early bird special and playing bingo. I'm officially 75 today.
We're down for it,
so you
though.
know.
I didn't have lunch, so I'm ready for 4:45 food. But also going back to Father's Day, just kind of like we mentioned with Mother's Day, I do want to give our love to those of you out there that maybe don't have your fathers around anymore, or maybe have complicated relationships with your fathers.
That we also understand.
Or dads who have issues with their kids or whatever. We understand that this, holidays like this can be super painful for some people, as well as a joyful time. So we just want to give our love to all of you guys.
It's true. It's true. So Liz says that we need to get the Salisbury steak and Waldorf salad for dessert.
Hey, when I was a kid, the banquet frozen TV dinners with the Salisbury steak and the corn, the mashed potatoes were my freaking favorite. So if I could get back to that time, I would totally have me a Salisbury steak.
I'm thinking that your palate was not very refined if that was your favorite, because those were always awful.
I'm sorry. How many 8-year-olds have refined palates?
It's true.
All right. So getting to our regular program, we break the show into 3 parts. The first part, we look at our real numbers for the last week, our gross numbers across all of our selling platforms, and we break down the fees, the shipping, and most importantly, the cost of goods. And the second part of our show, the middle part, we look at some sales highlights from the last week, either interesting, exciting, high price items we sold, or maybe just educational, anything that we think could be helpful to you guys. And then the last part of our show is we do our haul and we show you some of the cool things that we picked up in this last week. And so let's go ahead and jump right into it. What do you think?
Sure.
Are you excited?
The numbers are kind of iffy this week, I think.
Oh, especially for me.
Yeah, I mean, it is summertime, right, guys? I mean, there is a reality that there is it's a slower buying season, but also, let's face it, we've been super busy. So we are not listing as much as we should be listing.
Yeah, but we've been hearing from a lot of people that sales are especially down right now, whether it's the economy or for a lot of different reasons. People are spending double what they normally pay for gas.
It just depends on,
There's so much, but let me tell you, I'm definitely feeling how I felt, kind of years ago when I was only selling on eBay and the summer would come and it would be so tough to pay the bills. Luckily, we have multiple platforms we sell on, so we're fine.
We have lots of different revenue streams now.
eBay especially is real rough, but the other platforms are pretty slow too. So it is what it is. I think, I think this summer is going to be my summer of Whatnot, where Whatnot is really going to carry me through and allow me to eat my Salisbury steak. So that's kind of
you're on your own with that.
Which, real quick, speaking of Whatnot, guys, listen, if you are not on Whatnot and you're not sourcing on Whatnot, you are nuts because there's so much stuff.
I am going to show you 3 things in my haul this week and 1 thing in my solds that were sourced from Whatnot.
Exactly. Seriously, I have a link down below for you to sign up just for a regular buyer account as well as a seller one. Seriously, use it because I'm telling you, there are so many deals to be had on Whatnot, especially for you guys who live in locations where you talk about how, I don't have good sourcing here. We don't have any thrift stores here. I have a hard time finding inventory. I'm telling you should be going on Whatnot, looking at not just in clothing, but Laura Franzica, my 80 baby, has been doing great selling hard goods. But she's just starting out and she's letting stuff go because she buys it out of storage units for pennies. She has no problem letting something go for $10 that she knows she can sell for $60.
I'm going to tell you right now, if this person right here specifically, Hello, my friend Danica. If you are not on Whatnot, you need to get your ass on Whatnot.
Yeah.
I know what you have in that barn.
Well,
I
she's
know what
definitely
you
buying.
source. I know what you source and I know what you find. Yes, I've seen Katy's show, so I know you're buying. You need to be selling on Whatnot. You have the exact right personality to be selling on Whatnot.
Yes.
And you have stuff that you've picked up, your treasures and your repurposed stuff. You are fantastic. You are a prime candidate for Whatnot. You need to be on there, girlfriend. So I'm going to say,
absolutely.
Get on there.
Absolutely. And like I was saying, you know, Laura has she can make a profit and still sell it to people for low enough that you're going to make a profit off of something that you buy from her.
So also, and see right here, if you guys are not following, this is Crystal. This is my Crystal. Rosie's Closet is Crystal. She does my listings for me. She has a fantastic store and a fantastic eye. She has her first Whatnot sale schedule for this week. So if you're not following her, go look for that name.
Yeah.
And she's under that name for all of her shows. We definitely want you guys, if you've got a show coming up, go ahead and advertise it in the chat. There's enough out here for everybody. We're going to do a link every week.
I started this last week. Every Monday I'm doing a Whatnot post. So anyone that has a show that they want to share with everybody can post on that that can comment on that post with their links and everything. So I'll do a new one tomorrow. My next sale is on Tuesday. And guys, I have 96 bookmarks on it. So I need help getting to 100, but I am selling over 70 vintage movie t-shirts and TV t-shirts. And I promise you, they're going to go for less than they should. So there's going to be some deals to be had, but if you can come and support me on that one, it'd be really, really great. Again, the link to the actual show is down below, along with my referral link to get in as a buyer or as a seller.
I'm prepping.
Please go. I went to help her bookmark a show on her Whatnot, and I found out today she didn't even have my show. It's coming up on Tuesday, bookmarked, and I'm like,
I'm gonna be here watching it.
But it's called the support, man. I want to be able to look at that and be like, oh my gosh, I got over 100 bookmarks. But does she help me to do that? No, she does not.
I'm clearly not supportive at all. I am pulling stuff together for my first Whatnot show. More details to come on that. It's going to be pretty cool. My first show is going to be a collab show with somebody else. And I will let you guys know when it is.
Crazy, guys.
I'm super excited about it. I have been a little hesitant because I do, as you guys know, my average sale price is $55 to $60. You're not going to quite get that at first on Whatnot because you have to build an audience, right? And there's not a huge audience for vintage women's clothing there yet. But I'm going to build it. If you build it, they will come, right? So I'm getting there.
All right, dude. But yeah, and I'm going to have some crazy giveaways on Tuesdays. So please, on Tuesday's show, please come. I'm scared that all my stuff's going to go for $5. But if it does, that means you're getting it for $5. So,
Oh, Groovy Society. That's Mikey's mom.
Oh, hey.
Hi, Mikey's mom. Yeah, we were supportive. We were in the audience for Mikey Bags of Money. By the way, I know you guys probably are all following him already on the Instagram, on the YouTubles. Follow him on Whatnot as well, because he had his first show yesterday. And let me tell you something. Mikey is, as in everything he does, his friggin' first show was hilarious. He's so funny and so natural and such a goofball. He's like every guy's favorite uncle. I would think he's like everybody's favorite uncle. And I just think he's so fun to watch and interact with. He's such a goofball. And Courtney is his wife Courtney is like the antithesis of Mikey because she's so deadpan and so serious and so proper. And Mikey is just a goofball. And the two of them together have such a great chemistry.
But then she busted out the auctioneer voice, and it was the most hilarious thing ever. But Cynthia, I'm not quite sure what your question is. You're asking about explaining Whatnot bidding. I mean, when you're watching a show and the bidding opens, you just bid, and you can, you have to bid more than the other person in order to win it.
It's live bidding. You're not bidding up yourself unless you aren't paying attention. You can bid up yourself, I suppose.
I know that once
it tells you when you're the winner.
Once you bid, you can bid higher if you want to, for whatever reason, if you want to give more money. I don't know, but I'm not. Otherwise, it's a very straightforward
I know what she's
option.
saying. I know what she's saying. It's you. If you're not looking, like if you're looking at the screen, it's going to tell you are the high bidder. You have the bid. You have the high bid. And so when it's not you, the other person's name will be up. So you just need to pay attention. I guess if you kept clicking bid more, I guess you could outbid yourself. But just pay attention to it.
I will say you can pre-bid, and one way that is different from other auctions where you can go in and pre-bid is your pre-bid is going to be where it starts out. So like, let's say I go in and I go, oh, I want this shirt. And the auction hasn't started yet. I'm going to pre-bid $50 thinking that it's just going to it's going to go up until it hits the $50. No. It's going to start at that $50 if you put in the highest amount. So you need to be aware of that. But anyway, okay, let's go ahead and start the show. And yeah, double clicking bids twice.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yes, you can.
Yep.
You can do that. So you just got to be careful. Don't get too crazy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here.
We're actually not too bad. 20 minutes in. We've done more than 20 minutes talking before.
Yeah, and this time we actually had a guest.
I'm going to just do one more thing.
Yes,
we
dear.
can put the screen back on our faces. Guys, if you're not following the Reseller Remix Instagram page,
Boss Reseller
Remix Instagram page, you really should be following it. Tickets are going on sale in 11 days. 11 days tickets are going on sale. I wasn't so sure how we were going to top last year's event, but I'm going to tell you this year is topping it. This year, the amount of people and talent and informative educators and teachers in our community and community leaders that we have coming to be part of this event this year blows last year's out of the water.
Yep.
And I was a little bit afraid that we weren't going to quite be able to top it because I felt like we just like blew it all out in year one. Not even close. Like I'm so excited for the amount of people that we have, for the panelists that we've put together, for the speakers that we have coming. Yeah, you need to.
Yep. So speaking of this next week, by the end of this week, I will have all of our speakers up with their bios, and I will have all the topics up. We won't have a schedule up yet because that usually we've got to
refine the schedule.
That takes time. But we have all the topics that we will be having presenters on, and all the presenters will be up to date by the end of this week. And we'll have all of our current sponsors, which, let me tell you, we've got some awesome sponsors that are coming on this year that weren't here last year that we are crazy excited about.
Yeah, we have some people that have come out of the woodwork and went, oh, we heard about this thing you guys did last year. We want to be a part of it, which was exactly what we were hoping. And here it is. So yeah, definitely pay attention to the website, which will have all of the information on it, and the Instagram page. Pay attention. We will sell out this year. Last year we had, it was our proof of concept. It was our first year. We were in the middle of COVID. All of those things together, we didn't sell out. We had some strong ticket sales, but we did not sell out. This year it's going to sell out. I have no doubt.
Thrift and Mitten. Well, it hasn't come up on here. So it wants to know if there's going to be a session on Whatnot the Remix. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And I'm going to give you guys a little sneak peek real quick, a little secret, which isn't really a secret because it's going to be on the website this week. Whatnot, going to be one of our top sponsors. So they're going to be there. There will be multiple people from Whatnot at the Remix.
Whatnot is one of our title sponsors, and there is going to be a really, really amazing panel about Whatnot. And
we'll talk about it later
because
it's a surprise. It's going to be crazy. It might be one of the best sessions of the whole week. It's going to be really, really, really cool.
I have a pigeon like 3 inches outside my window here, and I can hear
they're like cooing. But yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. The interactions we've had with Whatnot so far has been amazing. We're really excited to partner up with them. So, okay, now for reals, guys.
Now we're going to talk about
getting into the dollars,
the numbers.
Like I said. Last week I had my Whatnot money to add in that helped me look a lot better. This week, no Whatnot. Thankfully, next week I'll have Whatnot again and Whatnot. Yeah, but eBay, man, not doing me any favors this week. 13 eBay sales, guys.
In a week? Jesus.
I only have 2 right now for the weekend. It's real sad. 14 between Etsy and Thrilling. Let me tell you, I hadn't had a single Thrilling sale for 2 weeks. And Vikki was asking me yesterday, have you sold anything on Thrilling in a while? I was like, no. And then I woke up this morning and I had like 6 sales. I think all of the same person because it's all NASCAR stuff. Nothing on Instagram. 3 on Grilled Mercari, with 2 of them being Mercari. So Grailed was real quiet for me this week. And so eBay didn't even crack 1,000, $903.03. Etsy and Thrilling together, $926.06, with a little over 400 of that being Thrilling. And nothing again on Instagram. $231 for Grilled Mercari, with 168 of that being Mercari. So my total sales barely
this week too.
Barely got, I just said that, geez, barely over $2,000 for my total gross sales. So real rough. Yeah, Cheryl says hubby even says yikes.
Yeah.
My shipping, I mean, that's low because I barely sold anything. $93.47. You can see all the fees broken down there.
Oh, that Ripley.
My cost
She's
of
such a brat.
goods, $230. So my total net sales, $1,519.23. Oh, it's good that we have Shelly here to
Shelly's
babysit
gonna go play with the dog.
So my gross average sale price, even that, I tried to be 70 and above. So 68, 67. Oh, I forgot to delete out those numbers from last week, but ignore that. 68, 67 gross average sale price. Net was $50.64. So overall, it's like, it's okay.
Legit, this pigeon is like 3 inches from my
staring at you?
He just flew away because he
Okay.
must have heard me. I don't know, but he was right there.
So anyway, real low sales for me. But you know what? Compared to how I was a few summers ago, it's still, I'm okay.
I know.
I'm okay. It's fine.
I'm okay.
It's going to save me next week.
It's all good. I'm okay. It's all okay. It's all good.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. So let's look at your numbers.
My numbers
Much
are
better
not
than mine.
terrible. They're not terrible, but they're not where I want them to be either, of course. But 37 orders on eBay, 7 orders, 6 were Etsy, and 1 was Depop, 10 on Poshmark, 2 on Mercari for a total of 56. My orders tend to be between 50 and 60 a week total. So, I mean, that's kind of, I'm in the right neighborhood, just not in the great sales amounts. So, $2,069 on eBay, $565 between Etsy and Depop, $382 on Posh. My Posh has been low the last 2 weeks. And then 71 on Mercari for a total of just under $3,100 for the week. Gross. Again, I do prefer to be in the $3,500 to $4,000 a week range. That's makes me happy. But for June sales and not working a whole heck of a lot, I'll take $3,000. So my shipping was $294. My shipping's always higher than Katie's because I sell hard goods. And then you've got all of my fees there. My cost of goods always relatively low because most of my stuff comes from the bins. So $183 for cost of goods. For my total net sales, $22.27 for the week. Not terrible. Not terrible.
All right. Did you already talk about your average sale price?
Oh, my average sale price, $55, right where I like it to be, 55 to 60. That's pretty cool for me.
There you go. I want to give a shout out to Tammy, who says it's her first time commenting. Love you both. Such great tips and encouragement. I sell on Etsy, eBay, Posh, mostly vintage clothing. So
awesome.
Welcome, Tammy. Good to hear from you.
Yeah. So Tammy, then you understand that's what I sell is mostly vintage clothing, mostly vintage women's clothing too. So there's not a ton of it on Whatnot yet, but I'm ready.
Absolutely.
She's like, I love buying on Whatnot. Haven't tried selling yet. So
Liz says my last couple weeks have been dismal. If only I could be disciplined to sit at home and list. LOL. Yeah, Liz was here last week, as you guys know.
We really convinced her. She was like, I really need to stay home and work on my business. I'm like, listen, all of your friends are here. You're coming. And she's like, okay.
But yeah, Vikki and I definitely like all day Friday. We usually take Saturday off. We spent all day yesterday working because we're like, we need to get caught up. We need to do some listing. So, it's the numbers follow.
I still got 80 items listed this week.
Yeah.
And cross-posted.
Yeah. So anyway, those were our numbers for the last week. Hopefully next week I'm hoping I can do really well in that Whatnot sale. I'm definitely nervous. I'm telling you guys, almost every single vintage movie t-shirt in my inventory I pulled, I'm nervous because it's some really cool stuff.
And it's stuff that you would normally sell for $200 to $300.
It's some of it. And I'm going to be real sad to see some of it go because some of them I would wear every now and then. I borrow from my own inventory. And so I'm going to be real sad to see some of it go. But you guys got to come and hang out. And let's go ahead and look at our sales highlights for the last week. And we'll start with you. What is this? What's going on here?
So this is something that I picked up from our friend Susan when I just showed last week in our haul video, or maybe 2 weeks ago. No, last week. All of the Christmas stuff that I picked up from her. And this was just one of the pieces. I've just started to get it listed. And this was one that sold the same day. So that's why I just wanted to maybe show this as a bolo. So Hawthorne Village is something that is a brand that is made by Bradford Exchange. And Hawthorne Village has several different types of villages that you're going to see. So there's the Thomas Kincaid Village, there's a Frosty Village, there is a Rudolph Village, there is the Coca-Cola Village. There's a whole bunch of different ones. But like you find with a lot of the Christmas stuff, Bradford Exchange Christmas stuff sells really, really well. It's like Danbury Mint. Danbury Mint, those the Christmas trees with the dogs on them, they sell for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, depending on the kind of dog. It's kind of ridiculous because the stuff is made out of resin and it's not really well made. It's mass-produced shit out of China that is made out of resin, but it's those people would buy the things monthly and you've got like your 3 easy payments through catalogs and all that crap. So people will buy this stuff and it's highly collectible. So even though it looks like cheap Christmas shit, because it does, and it is really, it sells really well. So this is more of what I wanted to like. This little thing weighs less than a pound. Everything was brand new in the packaging. These people never even displayed any of this stuff. And this one sold right away for $60. And I didn't take it out of the packaging. You can see my photos are nothing special.
Yeah,
fact,
the
really photos kind of suck, but people know what they're buying. So like I got as close as I could to see what the things, anyway. Even without great photos, not great displays, they're very hard to steal their stock photos because they're hard to find, and they make them so that you can't copy them or edit them, or else I would be stealing.
Too tiny.
Or they're too tiny. So I would be stealing stock photos when I could, just for something like this. I wouldn't put it as my primary photo, but I would definitely put it as like the secondary photo so people can see what it was. Anyway, it sold for $60. So when I think I have an average of $3 to $4 in everything. That I purchased, maybe more for some of the things, but usually it's long tail and it's going to sell for $30 or so. But the Hawthorne Village stuff could sell well. Yeah, it's just not in season yet.
Absolutely. Hello to Robin. Hello. Robin, you're definitely going to want to check out my Whatnot auction on Tuesday, because there's going to be some stuff in there that you're going to really like. And
it's going to be stuff she's going to want for herself.
I know, and it's going to be crazy cheap prices. I can pretty much guarantee it.
Yeah, so that's it. Just to keep an eye out for Hawthorne Village, anything.
All right. So first up, so they did not sell for the price you see there. So I usually don't pick up kids stuff, but every once in a while I'm like, I can't leave it behind. So I got this for $5. It's a Little Mermaid vintage t-shirt, kids t-shirt. And I was like, Little Mermaid just brings back good memories of when I was a kid. And
I love Little Mermaid.
And so I picked it up, even though I was like, it's probably going to take a while. And I actually haven't had it listed for all that long.
Where did you pick this up? Because I was with you when you got this. Is this from Jesse?
No, I think I got it from Jesse. And somebody offered 35, so like 50%. So, you hear people talk about like, oh, people are lowballing me. They only offered me 50%. Every once in a while, like somebody offered me 35 and I was going to counter it. And I was like, you know what? I paid $5 for it. It took me 2 seconds to list it. It's probably going to sit in my inventory for a while before the right buyer comes along. $35, I'm just going to go ahead and sell it. So I accepted the offer and I was fine with it. And it's going to be super cheap to ship. And I paid $5 for it. And somebody else is they got it for their kid and they're excited that their little kid's going to be wearing it.
Well, or a little kid or a little woman. A youth size large 14, 16 will fit a small woman. That's a size extra small or small.
It's not very long though. It's only 21 inches.
So she's got to be petite
and showing a little belly, I guess. But anyway, glad that I rescued the shirt, because I'm telling you, a lot of times kids vintage like this ends up getting tossed, or it just doesn't go anywhere. So it was nice to rescue it and somebody can have it.
So this is the first of one thing that I've sold that I sourced on Whatnot. So I purchased this from Barry, Afro Vintage. We talk about Barry a lot.
It's Nostalgia Land on Whatnot.
I paid $10 for this, and it happened to be when it was my very first Whatnot purchase. So I actually had my $10 credit. Ooh. So I really only paid the tax and shipping on this.
Okay.
So I think I paid about $8 for it. When he was auctioning some toys off, I was paying attention because I knew what certain things were worth. You don't have a lot of time to like research and bid at the same time. As you know, auctions are like 30 seconds or a minute. You got to be quick. But I knew that this one could sell for quite a bit. I'd actually sold it about 24 hours after listing it. That's for awesome. The price that you see there. It sold for $69.95 plus shipping. So I had paid like $8 or $9 all in for it. And I knew that it would sell. So I priced it a little higher than the highest priced sold was. The highest price sold for $60. So I priced it at $69.95.
That's pretty good. So see that? Sourced from Whatnot, immediately made a profit.
Within 24 hours.
Yeah, super good. The only one bummer things about Whatnot is you have to ship it in order to get paid. And so it would have been nice if Barry could have just brought your stuff over, but he had to ship it to you.
Right.
All right. Next up for me, is this the one you like, or do you like the other one better?
I like the other one better.
Okay. So I have a couple of Shania Twain t-shirts. This one, I've had these for a little while. When you look at comps,
we're just going to ignore her.
I know. When you look at Ripley, knock it off. When you look at comps, they tend to go for too cheap, in my opinion. But I think that's the case for a lot of country t-shirts. So I had this priced high, but I've sent out offers a million times for $100, and somebody finally took the offer. And so I sold it for 100, but I only paid like $20 for the shirt. Actually, where did I get? No, I got these from Laura. So I don't remember exactly how much I paid for them.
I don't think you paid 20.
I
think Laura tries to give you the things because Laura was like, am I going to throw this away? It's not worth anything.
Yeah, but I offer her fair prices. Like that Tiffany shirt I bought from her, I paid her $50 for. But I think I paid $20 a piece for these. So I think I am correct. I don't know if she's in the chat at all.
She's probably buying or selling on Whatnot at the moment.
That's true. Anyway, so I sold it for $100. I'm almost positive I paid $20 for it. But there you go. Naughty puppy. She's so naughty.
She's such a brat now,
She's
guys.
so naughty.
Seriously, she wants to be seen and heard.
Yeah, Robin says I keep buying for myself on Whatnot.
I haven't bought anything for myself yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something I either showed this last week or the week before. I grabbed this at the bins, so it weighs less than a pound. So I paid maybe $1.50 for it. And this hasn't been listed very long. It's only been listed maybe a week to 2 weeks. It sold for the price you see there, $97.46. This is technically like a nightgown, but these are the type of nightgowns that were fancy that people would wear around the house. Hostess dress, nightgown. It's nylon, but it has these great big, huge angel sleeves too. So if you look at it's like a muumuu, it's a caftan. Anyway. So this was just this gorgeous nylon nightgown type thing. And this is when people used to actually be fancy in nightgowns, right? It's really pretty. I would totally wear that.
There is some shock in the chat about finding it at the bins.
Kristen said, "Oh yeah, I find most of my stuff at the bins." Kristen, honestly, nobody wants this stuff. That shops at the bins that we go to. I have very little competition for women's vintage there, and there are even a couple of people that know me and know what I grab that will occasionally hand stuff to me there. Not very many, but a few of the other women that I see there frequently. I don't know their names or anything like that, but there's one specific woman that always brings her daughter, and she knows that I get vintage women's, and she'll be like, "Hey, this is something you would take," and she throws it at me, So it helps.
Sonny says he wants a fancy robe.
You need a fancy robe.
Look good in the caftan.
So
real quick,
Sonny.
Gail says she's wearing a dress right now that she got on Whatnot. So she loves it. It's funny because Deb and I, we like similar things and like to sell similar things. And so now what we've been doing recently is we'll both watch the same Whatnot live, and it's like we're hanging out and we just we'll be like chatting with each other or making little comments about whatever was just sold or who's bidding on stuff, and it's very fun.
Sonny says, "I like vintage women." It's a good man, smart man right there. Smart man. He likes I'm a vintage woman. Katie's a vintage woman. We're all vintage women at this point.
That's right.
I don't think we have very many. I don't think we have any that might be watching our show that are not vintage. Even Crystal, who's a youngin.
Crystal says she just found a Hawaiian dress at the bins, sold it yesterday for $120.
See? Yeah, I do really well.
The same bins as us.
Yep, we should go to the same bins. I find I do really well with stuff from the bins here. I really do. He's over there. He's like calling us cougars. That's funny.
Okay. Next up for me, now this one did not go for a lot of money, but the reason I wanted to share this one is I picked this up for $5, and this is one of those ones where I was like, oh, it's in such terrible condition. It's got these big stains on it. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to get out, but I love the graphic on it. And then when I looked really tiny here, it says Jackson Hole on it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy this anyway. I'm going to pay $5 for it. And sure enough, the stains didn't come out when I did it. I didn't really try too hard, but just bleaching it with other stuff. And but I sold it for $32.39. I just thought it was a cool shirt, even with the condition issues. Bought it for $5, sold it for $32.39. I really didn't have it that long, maybe a month and a half. And so it's just kind of one of those things where it's
even the broken stuff. I mean, broken, stained, whatever, depending on what it is. There's a buyer for almost everything. I'm reading the chat. It's cracking me up. Sonny, you've taken the chat down the toilet right there. So I'm assuming this is Mel. Mel says, I'm married to a vintage woman because Deb is a little bit older than her. Not much. You're vintage too, Mel. Nice try. And then Kristen says, hey, I'm vintage. She's like, I volunteer to distribute. I'm vintage. You guys are funny.
Okay. Next up, Vikki, what you got?
So this is a jacket Katy got for me, actually. At some point, I think you got this at yesterday's Fits. One of the times when you were there, you were like, yeah, this is a Vikki jacket.
Yep.
So sometimes just like I pick up stuff for her when I'm outsourcing, I'll be like, this is more of a Katy thing. Even though I sell all the same stuff that she sells, a lot of times I'm like, she'll appreciate it more.
Yeah, I could sell this, but I knew
and the
Vikki
same
would really
she
like
could
it.
she could sell the same thing. So she picked this up for me. So I didn't pay anything for it. So I've had it listed for a few months now. It is what it says there. So it's 1970s patches. It's just a Boy Scout jacket. All these different patches from the 70s.
So
I think
cool.
it's pretty cool. So it sold for $97.46. It was on sale. Sold for the price you see there. I was pretty happy with that. It's just a basic jacket with cool things on it.
It's cool, like 70s patches.
Mhm.
It's really fun.
Yep, I love it.
All right.
Nice try, Frankie. Frankie's like, Tracy and I are a vintage 80s couple. Listen, Tracy's from the 70s. She was born just the same year as me. So nice try.
But they're into the vintage.
You might be from the 80s.
They're into 80s stuff.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, here's something that I sourced off of Whatnot.
Speaking of Whatnot, Martha, yes, there is a link right below this show for the referral code for Katy.
Yeah, you'll see two of them. One of them is just if you want to sign up for an account right now to be able to start buying, and that'll give you a $10 credit towards your first purchase. And then the other one is for anyone, whether you have an account already, a regular buyer's account or whatever. It's if you want to apply to sell, but that's separate. So go ahead and it's down below. So this shirt I sourced off of Whatnot. I paid at most $10, and I just thought it was a fun shirt. I like this requires a woman's touch, the basketball, and you see at the back, it's a basketball Hall of Fame. And clearly it was like an event or something that was focusing more on, I think it was when like the WNBA was getting hot, and or it's what WNBA started in the 90s, right?
I think so.
Anyway, so then of course they were celebrating women more in basketball, and so I just thought it was a cool shirt. I love the graphic. I like the basketball kind of coming through the shirt. But I paid like maybe $10 total for it, and I had it listed for maybe a week and a half, and I sold it for $62.99. So definitely, seriously, do not sleep on sourcing on Whatnot. You are making a huge mistake if you're not sourcing on Whatnot, especially with the categories. Now, obviously t-shirts are hot. You can find tons of great stuff there, stuff that's really hot, but
the estate sale category, the other categories, thrifts and estates, some people will put their auctions in the wrong category, or they're in categories people don't look at because they're not quite as hot, quote unquote. That's where you want to be looking. Even I'm not, and you guys know, we talk about this all the time. We don't watch YouTube. We don't watch our other YouTube friends. Sorry, we're terrible about that. It's because YouTube is too distracting. I can't watch it when I'm working, but somehow Whatnot is not.
Yeah. I will put Whatnot on, and it's like, on my phone, and I have it down a little bit.
Right.
But I'm just somebody, like, when I just do Whatnot, especially some sellers, it's not moving along fast enough for me, or there's, most of the stuff they have is not interesting to me, but I know
so it's not as distracting.
But I know that some stuff is going to come up. So I'll totally have it sitting next to me while I'm working. And like I said, it'll slow me down a little bit, but I'm able to actually source. So I'm like doing my work, and I'm like, oh, this shirt just came up. I totally want to bid on this. So it's great. And it's kind of, and I know like Deb is like totally addicted to it, because I think she's got it like playing while she's working and stuff. But the second something comes up that she's into, she'll go and bid. She gets some really good deals. So it's pretty cool. All right. So next up for you, what you got? What's this? Tell us about it.
So this is a jacket that if you look at the tags make it look like it's a vintage brand. Scroll down a little bit to find the tags. So this is made in the USA. The brand is Remy. This is a company that is still current, and this is what the tags still look like. So if you look at that and you're looking just at the tag, most of us that know clothing and know vintage would think this is vintage, like this is from the 80s, right? If you were to look at that tag, wouldn't you think 80s? I would normally. I did a little bit of investigating. So this jacket, I didn't pay anything for. This was a gift from my my best friend when I was just home visiting in Rhode Island. It's a very, very nice, heavy, beautifully made jacket. I probably could have held out for a lot more money. This probably cost him $600 or $700 at Nordstrom. He bought it within the last 5 or 6 years. It's not old. But it's really, really nice, heavy, soft leather jacket. If you look up this brand and look up full retail, they sell very, he doesn't buy anything on sale or discount. He's like a fashion whore. So he buys everything at like full price at Nordstrom. But I didn't pay anything for it. I had it listed for like 200 or 200 and change. I got an offer for 130. You can see the best offer accepted. I took the offer at 130. I was like, I don't have any money into this. And sales are slow, so I'm going to take it. But yeah, he just handed me half a suitcase full of stuff when I came back and said, just take this stuff and sell it. I'm going to donate it if you don't
Nice work.
So yeah, it's sold pretty. So keep an eye out for that brand. You can tell by feeling something if it's quality anyway. This is just one of those. I had never heard of the brand, but I could tell that it was a very nice quality leather suede jacket. It's heavy, it's soft, it's very, very nice.
Yep. All right, next up, I feel like I got this that first time we went to the First Friday pop-up.
Possibly. I don't remember what you got.
But it's just kind of a cool racing t-shirt, and I just like the little graphic on it. I think it's cute. Look at this little guy. Dodge performing where it counts. So it's kind of like a Dodge Viper promo t-shirt, but racing, and I like the little stripe and everything on it. I don't know if it's on the Screen Stars tag, which this tag more often than not, it's going to be early 90s, but sometimes it's very late 80s. So it's somewhere on the cusp there. But I love these Screen Stars tags. And so this one, there was a lot of interest in it. I gotten some offers, but it's only been listed for like maybe a month and a half or so.
If you look at that Dodge Viper on it, it says 93 or Shelby or whatever that is on the top. Yeah, it says 93 on the car itself. So I'm assuming, and that's
it could be a specific, it could be a car, the specific car though.
It could have been.
Whatever. I put, sometimes when I don't know for sure, I will put both in the title because I'm not trying to trick anybody into thinking it's one decade or another, but I'll just put them both in there. What's the problem? But yeah, I paid maybe $10 for it.
And I don't think the Vipers were in the 80s. I do think the Dodge Vipers were only made in the 90s.
Okay. And sold it for $62.99. So it's just, these are like my bread and butter. It's like, yeah, it's great to find a t-shirt that I'm going to be able to sell for $200, $300, maybe even more. But my bread and butter is stuff like this, where
40s to 60s.
40s to 60s. I can sell them all day long, but I'm paying $5 to $10 for a piece. It's great. So I love it. All right. Next one for you.
So this is a good one. This is actually right up Greg DuPage Picker's alley. So this did not sell for what you see there. I knew it wasn't going to. I did have best offers on this. It actually sold. I paid $80. I think we'd figured out $75 or $80 for this lot at an estate sale.
I scouted this one out for you.
And I could have broken it down individually and made way more money. This is so vintage, cool. 1960s. Major Matt Mason. It was right when the space, first landing and the moon landing. Everything was NASA and space related. Super huge in the 60s. Some of these pieces are pretty rare to find, but this was a stuff that had tons and tons of different pieces put together. So I paid like $75 to $80 for this. I had it listed. Like I even got the backing of the cards. Some of the stickers were not used. Like I included everything. And sold it for a best offer of $275. He is not Barbie, Gail. It's made by Mattel, but it's not Barbie. So I paid $75 for it. I charged $50 flat rate shipping because it's really big. Like that box was really big, but it sold to California. So it only cost me $15 to ship it. So I had actually made an extra $35 on the shipping itself.
Yeah, she wanted me to find her a box, and like I'll go look at the sheet and be like, "Okay, where's this going to?" Because it depends on
if it had been going somewhere further away, I would have folded and broken down that exterior box and just put it in a smaller box, because that exterior box was not in great shape anyway. So it wouldn't have been bad for me to fold it to make it fit better in something else. But because it actually came in that box, I just put everything. I had it all bagged up in nice bags and stuffed the other box into another box, so it was fine. It's already been delivered. I haven't heard anything else, so I'm assuming that they like it.
Well, I'm sure. And when you look at this picture, I mean, it's pretty clear what condition everything's in. I mean, you can see.
I talk about it too. I talk about it.
Well, right. You just look at this. So I don't think anyone got it and was like, oh, why do those tubes have all that weird gross stuff in it? It's like, I mean, you can see it right.
Well, if you look at my description, go down a little bit. And I did more photos too, obviously. I took close-up photos of the stuff too, but
no, it's very clear what they're getting. So, all right. Next up for me, again, bread and butter, guys. I mean, look at this shirt. This is ridiculous. We're having a boil. It's like a crab boil.
That's ridiculous.
T-shirt.
Daniel
Valve Company.
So it's like a company picnic.
I don't even And then they isn't that weird? They're like who was like, we got to get together. We got to have an artist design this shirt for our shrimp boil that we're having here. And like, look at this graphic is so fun. I love it.
The crawfish.
I love it. It's so great. But Daniel Valve Company, like what the heck? I like the
what does it say?
Munchies
shrimp boiler. I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
Are they shrimp?
Muckies.
I don't know.
mucks. Anyway, but look at this. Yeah, there's shrimp. But look at this one's little hat. It's got a little hat.
Okay. It's ridiculous.
Again, this one's got that same.
See, this
Screen
is why I don't
Stars
eat
tag.
shrimp when they have legs on them.
But it's such a ridiculous shirt. This one took a little bit longer. I've had it for at least a few months, at least 6 months, I think. But seriously, I guarantee you, I didn't pay more than like $5.
See, Michelle says crawfish too. That's what I thought they looked like.
I don't think it
Crawfish,
is.
mud bugs.
Maybe it is.
I don't know. It's gross.
I don't know.
And I love shellfish. I love it, but
It literally says right here, it's a shrimp boiler. Anyway, that's what they look like when they when they still got their feet.
I know. I don't like them like that. Give them to me already. No, thank you.
Anyway, $62.99, paid like $5 for it. Bread and butter, guys. Bread and butter.
So this is something I picked up in the bins as well. This was, I think I showed this about a month ago or 5 weeks, 6 weeks ago or so. I had picked up 4 or 5 St. John pieces in the bins. And I'm talking in the bins in a bin that had already been out for 30 minutes because this is not what the people that go to my bins are looking for. They were still on the hangers. They were like thrown into the bin. I had picked up 4 or 5 pieces of St. John. Now this is vintage St. John from the 90s. It's got all these zippers all over it, but very nicely made, as St. John is. It's that Santana knit. And I had it listed for not even a month.
Yeah.
And it sold on a sale that I had on Etsy for $97.46. What I paid for it, $3.
Well, I feel like at our bins, you've got 2 main groupings of people. You got
the t-shirt bros. And there's a couple of girls, by the way, too. There's there's like 2 or 3 girls.
Sure.
It's not just all boys that are bro,
heavy. We'll just call them all the t-shirt bros.
It's bro heavy for sure.
But the t-shirt bros, the ones who are looking for bro shirts, vintage t-shirts and stuff like that. So they're going to be,
they want your shit.
They're going to be grabbing anything men's vintage that's cool, t-shirts, sweatshirts.
And they have actually moved on. They have actually moved on to, they're more knowledgeable than they used to be. They definitely will buy a lot of the stuff that you buy that normally people would not have bought, like the tourist shirts, your bread and butter stuff, the marathon shirts.
They're also
I see them buying that stuff now that I would never.
Yeah. And then the other people are buying more current stuff that's like lower price stuff. They're probably selling at like Swap Meet and
Poshmark. There's a lot of girls there that probably sell on Poshmark that are looking for current trending mall brands that are in good condition. And then the other thing is that the other faction of sellers is we have a lot of Latino or Mexican people that will come and purchase because they're selling at the Swap Meets. And so they'll buy in bulk, but they're looking for shoes and toys. And they're not necessarily looking for anything vintage, but they're looking for stuff that is still in good shape that they're going to turn around and sell at the Swap Meet. They're buying it but they're there all day, every day. Like that's some hard work.
Yeah.
But they're going to come in and so I stand back and I'll let them like swoop in. And then I go in after that. And I'm totally fine with
St. John blazers.
Yeah. So Naomi, we don't have 60 and 70-year-old. Yeah. I don't see any of those at our bins, maybe a couple. But I'm actually on the older side for people that are at our bins or shopping at our bins. And I'm okay with that because they're not buying what I'm buying. Gail, I need to go to your bins.
I know. That's what I was saying. I'm like, we need to go
to Gail's bins.
We need to go to Gail's bins. Well, because that's like when I used to live in Oregon, I was going to the bins between 2015 and 2017. I went to the ones in Salem, not the ones up in Portland. And I was one of the few people who was grabbing the stuff that I was looking for. So it was great because I had, my buddies there who would give, trade with me and stuff like that. So
no, the hard thing about the fact that I'm picky about what I buy is that I'm always going to come home with a cart full, but it is, few and far between where I'm going to come home with a cart full of really good vintage.
Right.
But I still get it.
Yeah. All right.
So
next up, we've got, this was probably my biggest sale of the week, this Rocky Horror Show. Now notice this is not Rocky Horror Picture Show. This is Rocky Horror Show because this is the stage play, not the film. So the Rocky Horror Show, this is it's 1980 is the copyright on it. You can see right there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, 1980. That's the copyright on it, but it's still, really cool shirt. And I paid maybe $20 for it. I got this from yesterday's Fits and sold it for $179.99. And I'm pretty stoked about that. It's super worn and faded, no tag. Tag doesn't really matter. It's pretty small. like a medium.
It's a good shirt.
I know. I love it. I think it's
Mhm.
great. Nice even fade to it. So.
I'm looking forward to in a couple of weeks seeing some Danica, Lady Luck Junk, and Colorado Reworn collabs on the TikTok.
Oh yeah.
So you two need to get together and do a little sourcing and do some collabs.
Yeah. You better be hanging out with Liz, seriously.
And we'll have FOMO.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be super jealous. All right, next up for you.
So I did show these on a show like 3 to 4 weeks ago, maybe. They also picked these up at the bins. Somebody had said that they used to work as a chef or they knew someone that had these pants. Anyway, 80s red cap uniform pants. They just have chili peppers all over them.
They're awesome.
They're pretty cool. They're like big baggy. They look like harem pants almost, right? So somebody purchased these and the name of the buyer had something about a chef in them as far as their user ID or whatever. So I guarantee that's why they bought them. They sold for the price you see there, $97.46. I paid maybe $2 at the bins.
I love Crystal's pictures because with pants because it always looks like an invisible
they're running.
man. It's an invisible man going wee and jumping.
Wee. It's true.
All right.
Well, it shows the ankles. That's what I like about it.
No, it looks good.
Yeah.
It's hard to, it can be hard to take pictures of pants that actually is aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah. So Deb and Mel were with me at the bins when I got those. Yes. So,
okay, cool. Very cool. All right. Next up. So this shirt, nothing really special about it, but when I picked this up, I bought this at yesterday's Fits. They were just about to have like a big $5 sale.
Why does the price look like it's like some weird, like
they changed the font. They're
Bitcoin font.
I know
or
they
something.
changed. I don't know. That's just
it looks like 80s, like
they changed their design.
Atari font.
Anyway, so they were having like a big, huge $5 sale for their 3rd anniversary, and so Jesse invited me to go dig through a bunch of stuff a couple days beforehand. And so it was a bunch of stuff for only $5. So when I saw this T-shirt, I was like, yeah, it's okay. But for $5, yeah, sure, I'll buy it. And I wasn't really like that.
The guy looks like your little person looks like he's wearing the pants Crystal just took a photo of. So if he's running.
Hold on.
Go back.
Whee!
He's wearing the pants.
Yep.
Whee!
So when I picked this up, I wasn't really that excited about it. It was just kind of like, for $5, I'm going to do it. And then I listed it. And seriously, like I've had it listed for like a week and a half and it sold for $63 on Grailed. And I was like, heck yeah. So sometimes like I'll buy something and I'm just not very enthusiastic about it. Yeah, but I don't know. I just wasn't that stoked about it. And then to have it sell so quickly for $63, I was pretty excited about it. So all right, next up for you.
So Depop is kind of hard for me to show you. So yeah, you're looking at my crap here. But what I wanted to show was that I had sold this shirt. I talked about just last week. I had sold the other Tom Petty t-shirt that I got at the bins. I had picked up a bunch of t-shirts that the bros missed. And a lot of them were women's. And I just wanted to show that I had picked up this Tom Petty 1990s t-shirt. You can tell it's that baby doll tee with kind of like that jersey raglan look, like the short sleeves. They're not cut. They're meant to be like that. I wore all of these band tees in the 90s for sure.
Yeah.
So I paid like $1 for it and it sold for $102.67 all in. So I think I had it listed at $100 and they offered me $85, which, okay, of course I'm going to take that offer. And plus shipping. I have my buyers pay shipping on Depop. So I basically sold the shirt for $85 plus shipping.
Depop is as bad as Mercari looking at your previous 7 days.
Oh yeah, I don't sell a lot on Depop or Mercari. I also don't cross post a lot there.
I was going to say.
So Depop for me, I only have like 200 items listed. So I list, like you can see this has all my solds, but this is all my solds like 5, 5, 6, 6, 6. So I've sold 3 things in June on Depop. But $90, 51, 102. So you can, $250. Okay, whatever. I haven't even cross posted anything there in months.
I still consistently do my cross posting to Mercari and Grilled every time I'm listing. And I sell consistently enough there that when I break down the math, it's worth my time. But man, I wish it would sell a little bit better. Okay, last one. Frankie, you and Tracy, I think will appreciate this t-shirt. So
heavier than Frankie likes, but yes,
whatever. They can still appreciate an old 80s band tee. So I picked this up at yesterday's Fits. I think it was the same sale. I think I only paid like $5 for it because it is so absolutely disgustingly thrashed.
I'm pretty proud of your sale on this one.
And I'm like, I don't care. I'm
gonna
buying
sell
this.
the shit out of
I'm
this.
like, there's no way that I'm gonna be able to get any of this shit out of the shirt. It is so terrible. It's like cut off. It's all totally effed up.
You know who's wearing that is some little skinny girl with big boobs because it's cut like
but look at how gross. Like, was she?
And
like,
it's a cutoff.
Was somebody like changing their oil? Like,
yes,
wearing the shirt.
Yes,
because it is so gross.
They like wiped the dipstick off.
Yeah,
on the shirt.
It's so gross down there. Let me see. Where's that picture? Yeah, this disgusting. But I sold it for $84. Sold it for $84. Paid like $5 for it.
Totally came out of the rag bin. Greg's got it. Paint bucket behind the garage door find. Exactly.
I saw it and I'm like, I'm selling this and I'm making some money. Just you watch. I think I showed it during the show and made that same proclamation. So I actually did pretty well.
Just Cheryl F me running.
It's so disgusting looking. Oh man, but
somebody bought it.
Yep,
and they're gonna wear it, and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, this is real vintage." Go ahead and put the screen back on. I got to show that one. You
okay, but hold on a second. I can actually see some girl wearing.
That's what I said. Like some girl wearing it with her little cutoff shorts or her high waisted mom jean shorts, right? Yeah.
All right,
so
do your
thing.
thing.
This is real vintage from the 80s. Except they've got to have it vocal fry. This is real vintage from the 80s.
Frankie says, "Who do I know who bought this?" I don't know. We'll see if Tracy's wearing it next week when next time you go out.
Tracy doesn't wear the belly shirts, but she might. You never know. Yes, just in time for the 40th anniversary tour. Somebody is wearing that, and I want to see some.
True.
You know, if we see some like 50-ish chick with her Lee press on boobs wearing this shirt, like I can picture a couple people I know from good old Rhode Island at a show wearing this for sure.
Yeah. All right. So that is the end of our sales highlights for the last week. I think we had some fun stuff in there. Let's go ahead and do our haul. I know you always, the second you go out, the problem with Vikki is that she does her sourcing during the week and then Crystal comes and picks up stuff on Fridays. So Fridays, Vikki's already washed everything, put it into bins and sends it off with Crystal. So any good clothing that she got in the last week, Crystal has now.
Yeah, she already got it. It's already there.
She's like a week behind. And then when it comes back, I think Vikki forgets to like look through the bins and pull stuff out to show.
Well, this week I did look and it was actually, this week was all mediocre crap. Wasn't really worth selling.
All right.
Or showing.
Yeah. And so, but you've got some hard goods, right? And you've got, so what happened is, you know, the ladies were here, the girls were here visiting us and we did a little bit of sourcing. And we went to Deseret Industries, which I think everybody picked up some stuff there.
Yep.
And then I was like, hey, we should go to yesterday's fits. And I just kind of wanted to like show everybody around because they all knew Jesse from last year and stuff. And I ended up spending over $500 on stuff there. And you bought a bunch of stuff that you're going to show. And Trish bought herself a really, really cute Mickey Mouse
Disney jacket.
Yeah,
Disney Fantasia Mickey
jacket.
Fantasia Mickey, Sorcerer Mickey. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So actually Liz got some great footage of me making this purchase and it looks like Jesse and I are doing a drug deal in the basement.
Because they were like down below.
She's got an aerial view of us looking down on us. And we were in the basement and we were near the staircase and it was a cash transaction. So we literally looked like we're making a furtive drug deal behind a building.
It's true.
It's pretty funny.
It's true. So usually
she's going to set it to music in black and white. Oh yeah, you're allowed. Of course you can post it.
Of course.
She's going to set it to some shady music and be like, this is what a reseller drug deal looks like. Yeah. It's going to be dun, dun, dun. I can see it now.
So Vikki doesn't buy as much. She doesn't buy as much from yesterday's fits and she doesn't really buy t-shirts and stuff from them, but she's kind of like Jesse's go-to buyer when it comes to textiles, like
textiles and hard goods.
I've blankets.
I bought Pendleton blankets from him and I've bought from yesterday's fits. Don't get me wrong. I'm just too cheap. And he knows that. He'll be like, he's like, I'm not going to really get much for this because it's damaged. You want this? And I'll buy that. I'll buy that thing. But I also he had a whole thing of stuff from their storage unit in the basement. And he was like, it's all the hard goods. I'm like, you want to sell them? He's like, yeah, go ahead. So I picked up, I was just showing just last week, I showed you guys a bunch of towels, vintage towels. So I paid $45 for the stack. I basically paid $5 a towel and I paid $15 for one of them. So basically what I have here is a bunch of vintage 80s and 90s towels. Like this one is, vintage Ralph Lauren with the logo. They're all in great shape. They're all clean. They're all washed. So it's a polo Ralph Lauren. I haven't comped any of these, but I won't sell any of them for less than 50. That I know. So I've got that one. Let me see. This one's a NASCAR one. I think this one might go for more money. I don't know. I haven't looked any of these up.
I don't know.
It depends on who the NASCAR person is. I think it's Dale Earnhardt. Yep. So number 3, Dale Earnhardt. So this actually, there's a lot of Dale Earnhardt stuff out there. So it may or may not go for more.
Too.
Yeah, I can smell
detergent.
I knew they were clean and folded. So yeah, so like, I don't know, $50. I'm just saying off the top of my head, it might be worth 100. Again, you know that when we do the show, we haven't researched anything yet. So this one is a Marlboro one, but this is dead stock actually. This is crispy, crunchy. So this is Marlboro, but it's like a big one.
Yeah. This is like one of those ones you get with points and stuff. You'll see the Adventure Team like jackets and t-shirts.
So this is crispy, crunchy.
Crispy, crunchy.
So again, at least $50 a piece. That's what I'm going to price them at. Of course, I will do some comps because some might be more rare than others. And this is the type of thing that I will comp because I can find comps on them. This one is a Coca-Cola one, but it's a
Olympic.
Coca-Cola Olympic. This is also dead stock.
It's way more would you call this Kelly green?
Yeah.
It's showing up as like teal in the.
Yeah, awesome. Listen, Grandpa had to smoke 152 packs to earn that for sure. Yeah, these are super bright. This is like a bright Kelly green. This is dead stock as well.
That's really nice.
You can tell because the graphics are crunchy, and you can tell when it's
it hasn't been washed 500 times.
Like this one has been washed 500 times. I can show you this one.
Next one.
This is the one that I paid a little bit more for because they do sell for a little bit more. And this is the vintage polo Ralph Lauren, the bear. So the polo bear. This one I'll probably list for like 75. There's a bunch of them that I did check this one because he wanted 15. I was like, if it sells for 20, I don't want it for 15. But these do sell for like $30 to like $100. If you ask 30, you're going to sell it for 30. If you ask 100, you're going to sell it for 100. So I'll be pricing this one up at least 75 to 100.
And I bet it sells on Etsy.
May not sell on eBay. It will probably sell on Etsy.
Yeah.
And this is a vintage, and they have re-released a lot of the polo bears recently, but people will pay up for the more vintage ones. Let's see.
I love all these. I think towels are great because they're easy.
So easy to ship.
Photograph, easy to lift.
Ship. You're taking 3 pictures basically and fold it up and throw it in a poly mailer. And they're usually under a pound. If they're over a pound, then you put it in a regular, like a padded mailer or whatever.
I feel like towels aren't a thing anymore when it comes to like branding stuff. Like,
no,
like this was a very 90s thing to have.
Yeah.
Towels, the promo towels.
Another polo Ralph Lauren. This one is in the, is in red instead of the blue. Just a couple more of these. This one is definitely a more washed one.
Are cool.
This one's a nice one too.
They're really big. They're great.
Yeah,
beach
they're
towels.
big, oversized beach towels.
So if you want to go to the beach and like show how cool you are, with
flex how cool you are with your
vintage
vintage your vintage swag, because it's not a fit. So I don't know what you call it. Here's my vintage towel. I don't know. You've got to have a better word than that. Let's see. 2 more. 1 more. This one I like the pattern of a lot. This is different. This is also. Oh no, this is. Oh, Miller Lite. Lite. Volleyball.
I feel like I've had this shirt before.
I think I have too. This one I'm actually going to price pretty high. This is a really cool looking one. I love it. This might be my highest priced one.
Yeah.
Just because it's beach volleyball. Anyway.
Yeah, Turtle Bug ink. Yeah, the bear is a thing. Like the whole, and the different outfits on the bear can like determine the price.
Depends,
like
exactly.
The rarity
it's like the shirts and the sweaters and the sweatshirts, depending on what the bear is wearing, there are different prices. It's a weird thing. I don't know. You got to do a little bit more deep dive into that.
Yep.
So let's see. I wish Laura were watching because I'm going to show a couple of things.
Laura Keys. She's probably out sorting through her U-Haul truck.
For her whatnot.
She was seriously driving around to garage sales in a 15-foot U-Haul.
Yeah, Cheryl, that does have Max Headroom vibe.
Yeah.
But he was like Coca-Cola, I think. So I always pick up interesting or different or vintage looking plush in the bins. This is one. This is a Kugra from Neopets.
A Kugra.
So that's her name is Kugra.
Okay.
And there's different colorways, and this is a purple Kugra. Now I happen to know about Neopets because they were at their peak in the 90s, late 90s, and my daughter was obsessed with Neopets. And she still actually likes Neopets. So this particular one is from 2003. So it's pretty much vintage, cusp vintage. I'll put vintage. This particular Neopet Kugra, the purple one, this one is interactive and has, I have to check the battery and make sure it works. But if it's working, this will sell for like 50 to 60 bucks. So
I think she's super cute.
Yeah, I think she's really cute. I love all the Neopets are really cute, actually. Neopets was like before Pokemon was Pokemon, or right about the same time. And it was one of those interactive games, computer games that the kids could interact on. And my daughter loved Neopets.
Yeah, Liz says that she thinks Caleb still has
Yeah. So I'm going to show two things that I actually sourced from Laura on the Whatnot. I've sourced a couple of things from Laura because she has great hard goods and vintage hard goods, and the prices are cheap because of, you start everything off cheap. So one of the things I picked up, this is like not quite 70s. I would say this is probably 80s. This is like a handmade, like almost macrame, but not quite macrame. It's like cross-stitched.
That's
cool.
It's
for like Feliz Navidad. And then I think it should say Merry Christmas somewhere. It doesn't actually, it just says Feliz Navidad. It's like this handmade, like,
it's cute
little Christmas thing. It's got some little pom-poms on it. I think it might be missing a pom-pom over here. And I think I paid $3 for it.
Yeah.
I'll probably list it for 40 or 50. Tamagotchi. That's the other one too. Those are, Tamagotchis.
Says, Shelly, grab that.
These I did pay up a little bit for. I did get into a little bit of a bidding war on the Whatnot with somebody. I think I paid $20 plus the shipping. So I'm probably in, that was the first thing I got the shipping on. And then this one was, so I had like the cheap shipping for the second one. So these are like 1950s to 60s, made in Japan, bobbing heads. These are these cute little Chinese or Japanese man and a woman that have bobbing heads, and they have magnetic lips.
I think it's supposed to be Japanese.
They're made in Japan. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be Japanese. And I'll just show you what they look like. They're very carefully wrapped in here, but they're in their original box, and they're the cutest little things. They're chalkware. Cute. And they have these cute little bobbing heads, and then their lips meet, and they're magnets. They're stinking cute.
Really, really cute.
I love these little things. Now they have all their stickers and everything's intact because they're dead stock in this box. So like I said, $25 or so is what I paid for them. There's no cracks. There's no crazing. They're chalkware because they're in perfect condition. I'm going to list these for about $100.
Yeah. I'm telling you guys, my
sourced on Whatnot.
MI80 baby on Whatnot, because Laura is basically, she's like, I haven't even been listing because I just want to do Whatnot full time, because she goes to these, she does these storage auctions. She can fill up a truck every single week. And for her, it's so much easier to throw it into Whatnot sale, which she's doing them every Tuesday and Friday at 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 Pacific time. So
9:30
fantastic way to source for cool vintage hard goods, because she doesn't care.
And if you buy a lot from the same buyer, there's discounted shipping on any item after your first item. So it actually makes more sense to buy from one person than to jump all around. Anyway, could I have bought it direct from Laura? Sure. But she's putting stuff in auction so she can see what the market will bear.
Yep.
Okay. So this I picked up at the bins. I am going to actually at least somewhat count the puzzle pieces. I don't generally do that, but it's not super vintage. It's a reprint, but this particular puzzle, it was the Beatles. It kind of has a Peter Max looking esque photo on it. This particular one, it sells for $50, guys. So I picked it up for what? That's like crazy. $1.50 at the bins, because we're $1.69 a pound, and this is pretty close to a pound anyway.
Well, I don't know the countings and doing any good. It just says over 500.
I know. I don't know if I'm going to put it together, but at least if it has 300 pieces, I'll know that it's not right. So I'll probably count it. But it sells for like $50. Because it really does look like Peter Max. It looks like Peter Max art, and it may very well be if I go look through it a little bit more, but I thought it was pretty cool. So it's Yellow Submarine, Beatles, puzzle. The graphic is cool. Let's see.
Whoa.
Sorry. I picked these up at the bins. Now they're not super pricey, but what they are a look, right? They're a look. L-E-W-K, a look. So it's definitely like vintage 60s, 70s French provincial was the style where you get the real fancy furniture that you put the plastic on. Yeah, so I wouldn't be putting Peter Max in the title. I just picked it up because it looks like that. So, that's okay. So I got these 2 pictures. They're just cheap little litho pictures, and people have them priced all over the place, super cheap and then higher priced. I'm going to price them pretty high. So these are just cardboard pictures in these like plasticky resin really cool, off-white frames. In the meantime, I'm going to hang these up somewhere in the house because I love them.
They look really cool.
But they're vintage 70s. They were very popular in the 70s, this type of artwork. And it's just like these pictures of like ballet dancers. And it's signed by somebody named Gina, which is not a real artist. But also what I wanted to show is these were absolutely hanging in a smoker's house because this has popped out of this one. Look at the border.
Oh, I thought that was just patina.
Yeah, the patina is nicotine.
Hey.
That's the nicotine patina.
Damn, Gina.
But they're so pretty. And I happen to really like, I think some people did not do the right keywords. They're just selling the prints. I think the frames and the prints together is what is going to sell these. They're definitely it's definitely French provincial, Hollywood Regency. They kind of cross breed depending on what the items are.
What's the style of art called?
I don't really know what the art style would be called. I mean, it's like, so if you look at his costume, the man's costume in this, I don't know. Honestly, it's definitely very 70s. This is the kind of artwork that my mom had in the house when I was growing up, but hers was like the conquistador and the matador and the Latina flamenco dancer, Carmen. Like, it's so weird, but that's what it reminds me of.
It's got that discoloration, but it doesn't smell like I don't smell anything.
No, but they're definitely it may be from the sun and from hanging in general, but I think it's nicotine stains.
But yeah, they don't smell like they're like it though.
No, they have no smell at all. And I'm sensitive to that stuff.
What's that, Danica? Hold me close, Tony Danza? What?
Yes. Tiny dancer. Anyway, so also picked up at the bins. I paid like $3 or $4 for this. People kept throwing it out of the way. And I was like, what is wrong with you people? So it's the North Face backpack, but it's the backpack with the internal steel backpack, right? Or, titanium or whatever, carbon. Anyway, it's a solid backpack. So this I paid like $3 or $4 for, and this will sell for like $100.
Cool.
It's just red, gray backpack. It's in great shape. I was pretty happy with that.
Very nice, very nice.
I only have like 4 or 5 more things. I'm going to keep going and then you can go.
Huh. Danica says that Chip has a t-shirt that says that with Tony's face. Hold me close, Tony Danza.
He would.
Are you bringing Chip this year? Come on. I hope so.
I hope so too. I like Chip. All right. So this is also a bins pickup. This cute little early 1990s African-American doll. She's got this cute, look at the curls. Oh my God, she's so cute. Original clothing. It's made by Toy Biz. And I think she was called like something talking. But when you find vintage African-American dolls, especially like 60s, 70s, 80s, early 90s, they were not as prolific as they are now. African-American dolls and African-American toys were very, very underrepresented, at least in the United States. So when they would come out with a model, it was usually limited. They didn't have enough of it. It wasn't really common. And because of that, a lot of people have a lot of nostalgia and collectors for these dolls because they were harder to find. So if you were a little African-American girl in the 80s, you walked into a toy store and you were lucky if you found one African-American doll that looked like you on the shelf, right? So they ended up having like little white babies all the time, little white baby dolls. So if you did not have a doll that looked like you wanted a doll that looked like you. So that is what creates the nostalgia and creates the need of people having like having to own that something that they wanted when they were a kid that maybe they didn't have. So this particular doll, I'm going to clean her up a little bit. She does talk. I got to see if she works. I don't know if she works yet. I paid like $3 in the bins, but in good condition, she sells for close to 100. Now, some people, again, they have them underpriced, but there are also sales over $75 to $85, $95. So it's all about marketing it. It's all about creating the right keywords, making sure that she's cleaned up, and you know, you ask for it, people are going to pay for it. So again, keep an eye out when you're looking for dolls and you're looking for dolls. Of course, there are millions of dolls that are collectible and sell for more money, but specifically keep an eye out for 60s, 70s, 80s, up to maybe early 90s, which is what this doll is, African-American dolls or Hispanic dolls. They sell for more money than the white baby dolls because there's millions of white baby dolls, and people that are people of color were underrepresented in the toy industry in general. So the clothes and the dolls are much more collectible and desirable.
Yep. So Danica says that the 12th is their 20th wedding anniversary. You know, the 12th.
Vegas is
the 12th is going to be the night that we're out on Fremont. Doesn't he want to celebrate your love with 400
of his closest friends
amongst a bazillion randos in the street? I mean, come on. Tell him to remember how much fun we had on Fremont, okay? And if he really cared about us and our feelings, he would come and make it a priority.
All right, so I just have like 4 more things I want to show, and then Katy can show hers. So this I picked up at the bins. So I paid, it's a soft cover book, so I paid 25 cents for it. This is just a vintage book that shows like pinup glamour girls, but it's girls from like pop art, like Pulp Fiction, those old Pulp Fiction 40s and 50s magazines. And it's awesome. Really cool. So it has all the artwork from that in it. Well, I picked it up because it's really cool, and I have about 10 different pinup art books in general myself that I like. I collect them. And I looked it up and realized that, yeah, this sells for like $100. So awesome. I'll probably sell it. But in the meantime, really cool. I'm going to enjoy it and look at it and you know, $100. Let's see. I'll skip these. I'm going to show you just a handful of more. Skip it. So these I bought. Okay. So went to the bins with Trish on Wednesday because Trish wanted to see our bins, and now she definitely wants to move here because there's a lot of stuff. But I picked up 100, 150
at least
vintage patterns, and I do not normally buy patterns, and I'm going to tell you why, because most of them don't sell and they are a pain in the neck to list. You want to see if the parts are there or whatnot. I'm going to tell you right now, if it is folded up and put back into a pattern, a sewing pattern, if it's folded up and put back into the envelope, you sell it and assume that it is complete. Because nobody is bothering to put an incomplete pattern back into an envelope. And if somebody contacts you, it's just like puzzles. You sell it as assumptive that it is complete. If somebody contacts you that it is not complete, then just give a refund. No questions asked. They don't need to send it back. Just give a refund.
Well, and the thing
Save
is,
yourself the time. Your time is worth money.
Clearly, these were all from the same person who donated 200 or, you know, whatever. Some of these passed away and their kids donated them all. If they had hundreds of patterns that they had used and then carefully put back in the thing, it wouldn't make any sense that they would have just like, you know.
Are you saving incomplete patterns? Like this one is uncut, and you can tell it's uncut because you can never fold them back exactly the way they were. When the pattern booklet is thick, it's because it's been used and folded back up, right? When it is super thin, the way that they were created, that pattern's never been cut because there's no way to get it folded that flat and put back in. It's just not. So uncut. So
this is really smart. So Michelle says vintage patterns uncut are great to wrap sold items in for shipping instead of color tissue because the ink won't fade on the clothing or the shoes. Because you're not supposed to use newspaper.
Smart. Yeah, I don't use newspaper, or I actually don't use colored tissue paper either. I use white if I use any.
But that's kind of fun, especially if you sell vintage clothing. It's kind of a fun.
That is a really fun idea. So I picked up a few hundred of these. Now what I'll probably do is lot them up by similar. They're all the same size, which is great. Vintage sizing, but still all the same vintage sizing. I will probably lot them up by decade or genre and sell like lots of 5 or lots of 10. But what I wanted to do is, like, you know, people always want to learn vintage, right? You want to learn vintage. People have difficulty trying to describe. I know I have a difficulty describing what decade something is in, or how do you know if it's 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s? Yes, you can do all of the research and you can watch a million shows like this. But anyway, what you can do is you can learn by looking at patterns because they're dated, right? So this little pattern right here, this is an example. I'm not talking 90s and 2000s patterns. Nobody's buying those. They're trash. Vintage patterns, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. This is a 70s pattern of like a backless sundress. So you've got a Hawaiian sundress here that's shown. You can tell by the hairstyle. This is an 80s Gunny Sacks dress. Some of them are branded. Gunny Sacks is big right now, right? So you're going to have, that's Gunny Sacks, and it has the name right there.
I feel like this could sell for a lot because not a ton, but like somebody who maybe is like actually good at sewing and wants a Gunny Sacks dress, but doesn't want to pay the $200-$300.
You can look them up real quick. Some of the designer ones do sell really well. Most of these are probably going to sell in the $15 range, and they're probably going to sell on Etsy, not on eBay. eBay, people price them at pennies, but you want to describe what the item is, not just put a title and the number in, because not most people are not looking. Yes, you'll put the number, but most people are not looking up a pattern by the number. If they want to buy it, they don't have the number. They don't know the number. So like there's some more vintage, like 70s, right? 60s. And then this became a style in the 90s, but look at that 60s with the short dresses, right? So this is the 70s, like the neckerchief. Like look at that outfit. Look at that.
All right, I gotta give a shout out to Danica, who gave us a $10 super chat. She says, "Do you two realize how much you make my little reseller life better? If I'm in a slump, low sales, burned out, just generally discouraged, I can always count on this show."
Aw.
You know what else you can count on, Danica? Us making you go up in front of a crowd of people and making you cry. I don't know if
Spontaneously.
I don't know if you should love us this much. No, we love you. Danica, as we've said a million times before, we knew you were our people the second we met you. And, you were one of our favorite people in the community. And you're one of the few people whose name I actually remember along with your online name.
It's true.
So, we definitely
awesome.
appreciate your support.
We love you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I wanted to note that, where did we have there? So Corey said I went to the bins without her. I'm sorry. It was like a 15-minute split second. We were not planning on it.
Hey, Corey, ask her what she's doing tomorrow.
She's coming with me tomorrow.
Hey, Corey. Never mind.
She's gonna meet Shelly and I at the bins tomorrow. I had already told her. Thanks. I was not bins cheating. All right. So like this one. Look at that. Look at that. That's like late 50s, early 60s. Look at that. Jackie O pillbox style.
Look at it.
More Jackie O looking dresses. Like, come on. Look at this stuff. 60s, little hippie dippy flower girls. Look at that 60s bangs, right? That should be worn with white go-go boots right there. Let's see. 70s, one shoulder gown. Look at how fancy that is. Look at that one shoulder fancy gown with that 70s. Look at that Cher 70s hair right there in that photo. More 60s.
Did you not bring the Brooke Shields one?
I did not. I couldn't find it right away. 50s here. This one's 50s. We've got our little 50s gowns there with the 50s bodice. Anyway, so these are, I'm going to sell these for at least $15, $20, $25. I'll check them real quick to see if one or the other is a designer that is specifically popular or whatnot. But they're great patterns, and I'm very excited to sell these. And I don't normally, what did I pay? 15 cents a piece for them, maybe, because I bought about 150 of them, and you pay by the weight, sure. But I would not normally pick those up. I don't pick them up at a garage sale. I definitely don't pick up late 80s, 90s, 2000s current patterns. But the older patterns are great. I think
they're really fun.
They're easy to photograph too. Mm-hmm. I'm either going to know if it's either cut or uncut. I'm going to assume complete. Three photos.
You're going to be like, are they American or European? And then take a picture of front and back and send it on its way.
American or European?
Don't think about it too hard.
I don't know.
Cut or uncut?
Oh, you're rude. That was nasty. She's so gross. I was like, what? Gross.
You're gross.
Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got this week.
Mm-hmm. All right. You want to see what I got?
Yes.
So like I said, we went to yesterday's fits. I was like, oh, I'll pick up a couple of things, but they had so much good stuff that I bought a ton, ended up spending like over $500. I also got some stuff at Deseret Industries. What's funny is when I went into Deseret, I never find anything in the men's section, but they're probably where I have the best of luck when I look in the women's. So I found vintage t-shirts, nothing like crazy, just some basic bread and butter stuff. But I found multiple vintage t-shirts in the women's section, in the plus size women's section, and in the boys section. Somebody had put like 2 or 3 vintage, like full size adult t-shirts in the boys section. So you really have to be a little bit more adventurous. Not adventurous, but you gotta branch out beyond just the men's section, because that's where all the t-shirt bros and broettes and bras go to look for
broettes,
bras. Go to look for the vintage t-shirts, and they won't necessarily go look on the women's side. So anyway, but I'm just going to show you the stuff I got from yesterday's fits. A little bit of what I got from yesterday's fits. Vikki didn't see any of this because she was talking to Jesse, and I was just going crazy, grabbing stuff off the shelf or off the rack. But these are really fun. So this one I think is cut off on the bottom, which is weird, but I still had to get it because it was like only $5.
It is single stitch because the sleeves are single stitch. So
yeah, well, I saw that it's for some reason it's cut off on the bottom. I was going.
What the hell happened?
I was going really fast through the rack, and I saw this, and I was like, whatever. And then Trish was like, no, but look at the back. Look at the back. And so I saw the back, and it does have Budman. And so for $5, it's 1993 Budweiser chamber tube float. I don't know what that is. Arizona. Just a fun graphic. So worth $5 to pick it up. And single stitch. It is cut off at the bottom again, but I mean, whatever.
And it's unevenly cut off.
I know, right?
But somebody was drinking too much Bud before they cut that thing.
I think I can still sell it for like
what's
$30.
Was it pressed up against a tie-dyed shirt when it was wet?
I don't know.
It's like a tie-dye shirt that's wet. That was wet, and somebody pressed up against it.
For sure. And then I got this t-shirt. I love.
Oh, I like that.
It's made me so happy when I got it. And what's great about this one is it's actually made in Australia, and it's so if any of you kids who grew up in the 80s like I did, you heard all about Halley's Comet. So for me, like anything Halley's Comet is very nostalgic. And I love the graphic on this shirt. And it says, I came close to Halley's comic. I came close to Halley's Comet. And then you can see I don't know how to pronounce it. Ayers Rock Watch Site, Australia, 1986. So how cool is that?
How specific.
Just think of like some kid my age, like hanging out on the other side of the world, like who went to see Halley's Comet. I love it. I think it's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, you know me, I love space stuff. So, and it's in great condition. I don't even know if it was worn.
I mean, it's been worn. You can tell
but it's not
pilly.
Super worn.
It's slightly pilly, so you can tell it's been washed. Like it's got that super soft. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But I love this. This was on like the $10 rack. So again, great deals to be had.
That one was yesterday's fit. So that Danica wasn't in the wild at a thrift. It's already curated.
But you know how? Yeah, exactly. But you know what? I spent $500, and I seriously ended up with like, I don't know, 30 to 40 t-shirts. And like
your lowest price you're going to sell them for is
why would I spend
$40
days trying to find stuff in thrift stores? Time is money, guys. Time is money. I could be spending that time listing more.
I still don't know why she's told you all about yesterday's fits, because honestly, now like,
because they have no end of stuff coming in.
Yeah. I would have kept it to myself because I'm selfish like that.
And the more successful they are, the more they're able to sell all of their stuff, the more they can get, and the more, it's, I think we're all
don't get me wrong. They're fantastic kids. And I love Jesse and Austin. They're great guys. But I love the fact, like, Katie's so openly shared her sources and put together all those boxes for you guys before. I think it's great.
Next up, this one, I don't know, Bad Bones, it's Bad Bones, but it's like a goat. It's like a goat skull.
It's like
or
a goat
something,
skull. It looks like it should be like a coffee brand. Is that Bad Bones?
I don't know, but it says Cocoa Beach, Florida. So I have no idea.
Look that shit up right now while you're looking. Okay.
And this is another one that I only paid.
BONZ.
Yeah. This is another one I only paid like $10 for. So it has no tag. I want to show you guys something else. I talk about how vintage, single stitch, it's not a rule, but it's a guide. And most likely if it's single stitch, it's going to be vintage, but not all vintage is single stitch, blah, blah, blah. Here's another thing. If you do not have a tag and there's no,
that's a musical artist, Bad Bones.
Okay. If there's no, now this does have, you can see right here, it says 89. So there you go. I am what I'm going to tell you is correct. there is a date on there, 89. But let me show you something. So a lot of times you'll see vintage t-shirts. Look at how this collar is. See how it's like got that stitching? It's like almost like a double stitch around the neckline. See that?
Mm-hmm.
That's very 80s. You see that a lot in the 80s. Now, not all of them are going to look like that, but it's like a regular single stitch on the sleeve and on the bottom. But a lot of times you'll see like old band shirts from the 80s will have the collars like this, which is different than, and again, see, actually this Australia one, this one is the same way. See how that's stitched? Very similar style of stitching. Now you'll also see like in the 90s and in the 80s too, just
that
this
big,
nice wide collar. So it's a little bit different. But if you ever have a t-shirt like this where there's no tag and it doesn't have that date on it, you can just kind of tell from the sleeve and the bottom and this collar, it's going to be 80s. All right.
Lots of info.
Lots of info. Next up, these are always weird to me because it's like almost t-shirt.
We're like right on time. We got like another 5 minutes of shirts to show, and we'll be
5 minutes
or 10.
These are weird because it's kind of like a t-shirt, but it's a little bit of a not as soft material, and looks like a sweatshirt, but it doesn't have the backing or the, what do you call
fleece.
It? The fleece. So, but I love
it's like a cotton sweatshirt.
Yeah, Miller High Life Racing. I love it. It's got the racing flag
cool.
on the outside. There's like a really cool Miller
cool
High
one.
Life. And
I can smell that one. It smells
beers.
clean, actually. So
champagne of beers, Miller High Life. But these are always a little weird for me to list because it's like a sweatshirt. I usually say sweatshirt, t-shirt. It's again, and it doesn't feel. It's a little bit.
It doesn't feel like a t-shirt. It doesn't feel like a
shirt.
sweatshirt. It's like that canvasy feel almost.
But this is the tag. This is probably. This could be 80s into early 90s.
I feel like that style was early 90s.
Yeah. So there were a few. So after we were done looking at the regular racks,
so we still have 112 people watching. Go ahead and gently caress that like button.
Just caress it. Caress it.
Okay? Soft little tap.
Liz says, hold on. Why is this all
the
funky?
TikTok is almost done.
She says, I found a marathon shirt single double at the bins this week and thought Katie might get this. So in the cart it went.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Anyway, so after we were done looking at the racks, I was like, so what do you got at the back there? What else you got? You got anything next door? Anything hidden away? Because sometimes he'll have a big stash of stuff I can dig through. And he's like, well, you can go through the laundry. You can go. He's like, I got some bags because they have a location next door where that's just kind of storage. He's overflow. He's like, you can go through the stuff that needs to be washed. There's some really cool stuff in there. And I was like, okay, let's go through some dirty stuff. And so we went over there and there's a few things I grabbed that I paid up for. This one, I don't know why it was in that room. And when he saw it, he was like, I still have one of those. It's dead stock. It shouldn't have even been in with that stuff. But I'm sure you guys might recognize this because I bought a few of these from him before.
And you've sold them all, right?
And I've sold them all. The only thing I have left is a tank top, which is just taking a little longer to sell. But I sold all of these for like around $200.
I will have you know, and I've said this every time, I was at that Lollapalooza.
You were so cool. You were so cool.
I'm not sure if it was that one or the year after that I lost my shirt at.
That's embarrassing.
I crowd surfed and somebody took my shirt off.
Anyway.
I was 19. I didn't care.
Slut. So it's on the Screen Stars tag.
18, 17.
Screen Stars tag. XL Screen Stars tag. Now this Screen Stars tag is an 80s tag. This tag will tell you the shirt was made in the 80s. However, this is my finger pointing at you guys. However, we all know Lollapalooza, and this one in particular, did not happen in the 80s. So that's where sometimes these tags will steer you wrong because you're going to be like, oh, this is an 80s t-shirt. No, the t-shirt itself was made in the 80s. It was screen printed later than that, but it's nice and soft. And this is from 1992, Lollapalooza.
My junior year in high school. That was the summer of the junior year. Was what Lollapalooza was in the summer.
You got Red Hot Chili Peppers. You got Pearl Jam. You got Ice Cube, Ministry, Soundgarden, Jesus Mary Chain, Lush. And this is just a really cool shirt. It's got the Miller genuine draft on the back, and it's probably more of a large. But I paid $60 for this because I know I'll be able to sell it for a couple hundred.
Liz, I believe, just posted the TikTok that has to do with yesterday's fits and the little drug deal in the alleyway. I'm
You're going to play it right now?
I'm going to play it.
Okay,
If
go
those
ahead.
of you that are not on the TikTok, I'm going to see if I can play. I don't really go on TikTok. Go ahead, keep talking because I'm going to see if I can find it. Hold on. Sorry.
All right. Well, Liz, can you make this easier on all of us here and just message it directly to Victoria?
Wait,
So she's not trying to. So she's not trying to look for it.
I got to see who I'm following. I'm only following like 3 people on the TikTok. Yeah, here it is. It's right here. Catching a backdoor reseller deal go down. Some of the best deals happen this way. See? It looks like a shady drug deal.
Yep. Very shady. Very shady.
I'm taking cash out of my pocket. That's funny.
No, we saw it in the chat, Liz. I was just saying Vikki was not quickly able to get to the chat. Anyway, on her phone. Okay, so next up, this was
Greg. If that was the only Lollapalooza you were at, did you steal my shirt? I don't know. Were you crowd surfing?
Yeah,
I was crowd. It was in Connecticut. I went to the one in Connecticut, so it's probably not him.
I got this Joe Cool T-shirt. Now this one is definitely vintage '90s, and yet, however, guys, you're gonna see double stitch on the sleeves.
Snoop, not Snoop Doggy Dog.
Double stitch on the bottom. So if you're somebody who listens to people talk about single stitch and you're like, it's double stitch everywhere, it's not vintage. Bullshit. This is where it gets you caught up, man. But it's definitely the style. You can see like the style of the collar,
the drop shoulder because it's oversized.
Yeah, just the construction of the shirt itself. I don't know if this one has a date on it. It does not. It just says Peanuts. But this Joe.
Well, here's the thing. United Syndicate is Peanuts.
It doesn't really matter.
So United Syndicate usually is dated the original date of the copyright for Peanuts. It's 1978, actually. Yeah. It's not 1968 or 1978, I'm sure. Anyway, it's it almost always Peanuts stuff. People list it incorrectly because they think it's the date it was created. Peanuts stuff generally is copywritten by the original copyright date. Yeah. They don't put the date it was created. So Peanut stuff specifically confuses the heck out of people.
Yeah. So I paid $40 for this one. I need to bleach it, and then I will probably sell it for $100 to $150. Next up, this is another one I paid up for. I paid $60 for this. It definitely needs to be bleached like a biatch. This, remember I was showing you that Screen Stars tag and saying this is 80s, even though the t-shirt was from 92. This one is same tag, even though it's kind of torn off, but you can see just the edge of it. This is a Screen Stars tag. Mm-hmm. This is definitely 80s. And, oh wait, actually this one, same thing, 1990. But it was probably made in the 80s.
Thank you. It's 1965. Thank you, Greg. I knew it was, I couldn't remember exactly the year that it was Peanut stuff says, but.
So Billy Idol, and don't get too close to it. It's real yellow. But look at the back of it. So again, it had that Screen Stars tag, but it is 1990. Billy Idol, Charmed Life. And look at it's got like the paint splatter on the back. Like how cool is that graphic? I love it. I paid $60 for this. I didn't look it up. I don't know what it sells for. I don't really care because it's too magical. I love it.
Rock the Cradle of Love.
Billy Idol t-shirt.
That's more the rock. Rock the Cradle of Love. Remember Alicia Silverstone was in that video?
In the midnight hour.
And Liv Tyler.
More. All right.
Pretty cool one.
Now, remember my Wasp t-shirt that was just absolutely destroyed and disgusting. Here's another one that's pretty effed up. But I think it's in the best possible way.
Oh, yeah.
One of the first t-shirts I sold for a lot. I sold it on Etsy. And I think I sold it for $80. And it was the same t-shirt, although it was not cut off like this one is. And it was so stained and so gross. And it was like the first time I took a t-shirt where it was like just in rough shape and sold it for a lot of dollars. And I think I sold it for $80.
I think Rebel Yell, I'm looking at the chat right there. Sorry. I think Rebel Yell and White Wedding were the previous album. I'm pretty sure Charmed Life is the Rock the Cradle song, which was the big one from that one.
So it says live shit, binge and purge. I'm pretty sure this is the exact same shirt. After the show, I'm going to have to go and look at my sold history on Etsy because I'm almost positive this is the same shirt. Live shit, binge and purge. And then the back of it, but it's cut off in just the right way where you can still see the full graphic. Mm-hmm. And so I think this is actually going to be a great shirt for some girl that wants to have a cool vintage Metallica shirt, but kind of cut off, oversized.
This is real vintage. This is real. She doesn't know a
giant
single
tag.
Metallica song, and I'm wearing this shirt to Coachella, but this is real vintage.
So I think he only charged me like $30 for this, but I still think I can sell it for minimum $100. Great shirt. I love it. Great graphics.
Robert is in the chat. Zombie Bargain Hunter. If you want to know all about plush,
What's up?
he would be like the plushy king. Star is like the plushy queen. She does a lot of stuff other than just plush, but she does a lot of plush. And Robert is like, what do you like? 100% plush? Is that all you sell, Robert? I'm not even entirely sure. I'm sorry. Yeah, he came to the Reseller Remix last year. We got to meet him. Hopefully you're coming back this year. I mean, why not? You're driving from California. Let's go. Get in your car.
All right. So this is the last t-shirt that I paid up for. And I paid $60 for this one as well. But you will see why. It definitely needs to be bleached. Again, this is from going through their dirty laundry, man. But you are going to love it. It's a nice big size. It says one size fits all. I would say this is easily like a 2X at least. Fantastic graphic. Cruella de Vil. Look at how great. It's a huge, giant graphic. If she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. She's like a spider waiting for the kill. Cruella de Vil. All right, front, but look at the back. The back is ridiculous. The fur's gonna fly if I don't get my coffee now. How cute is that? So I paid $60 for this. Again, amazing giant graphic. I love it. I'll probably list this for a couple hundred. I mean, who knows? I'll look it up and see if there's any other ones out there, but it doesn't really matter to me.
You know what, Danica? I may try some Billy Idol. See what I got for my birthday? A karaoke system. And it has already been used like 3 or 4 times in this house. And I do believe that's one of Liz's 7,000 videos, or at least a handful of Liz's 7,000 videos are us doing karaoke last week. It was a lot of fun.
It's true. All right. Let me see if there's any.
Corey's like, what? Dalmatians what? She loves her some Disney, especially Cruella.
It's true.
Aristocats and Cruella, I think, are the 2 faves.
All right, so I think I'll just show a few more really quickly. Again, the rest of these are all like $10 tees, tops. I love this tank top. It's like all worn and faded. Dirt bike,
really soft.
Motocross.
Oh yeah, some scrawny dude with like no guns was wearing this as like, for sure.
Yeah. Love that. I don't really know what the deal with this is. I'll look it up. But it says Carter's Crew. I don't know, based on the names down below, I don't know if it's like President Carter or what the deal is or what this is all about, but I like the graphic on it.
I think I did call you Cruella. That was before I knew Crystal. And she has this gorgeous naturally gray hair.
Yeah.
People pay lots of money to get her color. When gray young, but so has this beautiful gray hair. And I think you still had a lot more black in it at the time when we first met. So yeah.
This is really cool. It's a dead stock.
Allison, shut your face hole. First anniversary is paper, 60th birthday is karaoke. Biatch.
Dead stock, Colorado State women's basketball, 1996, the dream season. This is really cool. It's dead stock, new with tags. Just a really cool shirt. Again, I think this one I paid like $15 for. Nice big size too. Really, really, really cute. Vintage 80s. 1984 Mickey on a stamp,
like a postage
and see what I was saying before about the 80s collars. Look at you. Here's another example of that. See how it's kind of the double stitch just on the collar, and then single stitch on the sleeves and the bottom. But just a really cool
BDT. Just for that, I'm going to I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to think of something. Anyway, just to tell you how great this reseller community is, as if you didn't already know this, and how much we already love you guys. But so we have very good friends here in town that Allison does not know. Just an example. They're going on an Alaskan cruise.
They are, but they're not actually going to stay.
I know. Okay. I know. I wasn't going to say that. They're going on an Alaskan cruise, and they actually left yesterday for their Alaskan cruise, and they are flying into Kenai, Alaska, which is ironically where Allison lives, and the name of Liz's dog is Kenai. And it's like a couple hours out of Anchorage. So they're landing in Anchorage, and then they were going to be driving and staying in Kenai. So last week we're out at trivia, and our friend James gets an email from the hotel saying, oh, due to short staffing, we're canceling your reservation in Kenai, Alaska, which is like the middle of freaking nowhere. Not that it's the middle of nowhere, but it's Alaska, right? He lives here in Vegas.
It's like a town like 6,000 people.
So it's not a huge town, but they're going to be stranded without a hotel in Alaska, and it was like the part of their plan for their trip. Like, what do you do at the last minute, a week before you leave?
Yeah.
It's not like it's Vegas and you can book another hotel, right? So they could have. So anyway, we asked Allison, what would you suggest? Where should they go?
Is there
And blah, blah,
somewhere
blah.
else
Is there
where
somewhere
they could
else that you
stay?
know as a local? And she immediately says, well, they could stay with me. She doesn't even
She's
know
awesome.
these people.
She's awesome.
They actually found somewhere else to go. But the fact that you would offer that blindly because they're friends of ours and we're friends with you, that you'd be like, okay, let's trust these people. Strangers come and stay with me.
Well, what happened is it's the end of their cruise. They get into Anchorage at like midnight, and they thought they had to like leave then. And so that's why they were going to travel into Kenai and stay at a hotel, because they wanted to check out the peninsula because it's really pretty and everything. That's where Allison has her snow cone or her shaved ice truck. But they found out that they can actually stay on the ship till the next morning. They just have to leave at like 8 in the morning. And so they're still going to, I think, do a day trip to Kenai and check out the peninsula, but they don't need a place to stay. That's basically what happened. But she is awesome.
Like, who does that? I just want to say, like, that's, she comes across as a sarcastic, crotchety old broad, and she is all of that, but she's also has a heart of gold.
She's the nicest person in the world, for sure. All right. This one I was going to ask a question because I found a similar one listed online, and they said it was a motorcycle club. I don't necessarily know. I got this because I just think the graphic is really cool. It says Hell's Mensons.
Like Mensa?
I don't know. Hell's Mensons. There's one listed that's got some words underneath it as well.
So is this
eBay
like the
for
really
like
smart,
$100?
the really smart Hell's Angels?
Yeah, I think so. But it's got like the little, it's got the little
they call
trademark.
themselves Hell's Mensons because they're the smart Hell's Angels.
It's got the little
And
trademark.
now there
on
is
it.
a death wish on me.
But does anyone know anything about Hell's Mensons or what that's supposed to be? I don't know, but it's definitely vintage. This one is probably late 80s, early 90s.
Is that just a bad period? Who said that? Damn it. It could be. Menses? I don't know.
But I picked this is one of those things where it's like kind of instinct. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool graphic. I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna buy it because I just like it, and it's really soft and everything. So anybody who has any information about that, maybe you could tell me. Just a couple more things, and then we're done.
Yeah, because we have dinner reservations in 55 minutes.
Oh man. This one, I've been to Harrah's Del Rio. I know I'm cool.
That's funny.
It's just silly.
It's a Mensa group. See, Chris, I said it was like the smart people.
Is it?
And it was Mensa.
Somebody had it listed as like a motorcycle club, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think so.
I didn't, yeah.
Because I thought it was something to do with Mensa as well. So, yeah, they aren't really.
I was a member of Mensa in the early 2000s, and then I just stopped paying my membership fee because it's stupid.
Yeah. So this one is a little ridiculous. It's visit LA.
Because I'm wicked smart.
Visit LA. It's a riot. Now it says April of 1999. There were no riots in 1999. I think the LA riots were in 1992. We're in April of 1992. So I don't know if it's just like they put 1999 on here and this is like an anniversary like t-shirt, kind of poking a little bit of fun at the LA
riots,
and the
really?
riots. I know, it's like whatever.
Are you poking? How do you poke fun at riots?
Not
That's pretty-
poking fun, but just kind of like
referencing it, I suppose.
It's like satire, like not like woohoo, yeah, riots, yay. Anyway, but this is from 1999.
Chris said Mensa makes teas for their meetings. So good to know. I never went to a meeting. I just did like a bunch of tests and registered and paid a fucking fee for some odd reason to say I was a member of Mensa. I don't know. Who cares? It's lame.
You cared apparently.
I cared at the time, I suppose.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying you cared.
I don't know. I'm wicked smart. I don't need to pay a membership.
Last one. I don't know anything about who this dude is. Election 1997. Freeman R. Bosley Jr. 1997. So
Where's this?
He was running for mayor in 1997. Mayor of St. Louis. This is for his second term in office. I don't know anything about Mayor Bosley. I don't know if he's got a good reputation or a bad reputation. But I thought this is a really cool shirt because it's like it's very like streetwear-esque, where it's like, there's a bunch of 90s t-shirts where it'll be like, oh, this basketball team won the championship, and then they'll have like the newspaper cover like for the front, and then in the back of it,
it's crispy.
It says use the power, vote up, and then it's kind of like the like the African, like when you see like
African flag.
Yeah, African flag.
The colors from the African flag. Yeah.
Use the power, vote up.
I mean, it's not the African flag, but it's the colors.
Yeah. So this was because he was the first African American mayor for the city of St. Louis. This was for his second term.
I think that's pretty cool.
So again, I don't know if he was popular. Who knows? Maybe since this, there's been like huge scandals and whatever. But just kind of a cool shirt. Very cool. So That's it. And then I got one shirt for myself. It's
Okay.
not. I got one shirt for myself. It's
Mhm.
not vintage. Am I allowed to show it?
Yes, hurry up.
Black flag, motherfuckers.
That's not annoying at all.
That's for me. That's for my collection.
All right, that's it. We're done.
I think so.
We're done. This is a pretty long show, actually. We almost went 2 hours. Sorry, guys. But
I
hey,
don't
over
apologize.
100 of you held out for the whole time. So, you must love us.
Danica likes my shirt.
Danica thinks you're hilarious.
I know she does. She loves me.
She's also not so bright. No. I'm kidding. I'm
Danica!
I'm kidding.
Why would she attack? She gave us $10. Why would you attack her like that?
I love you, Danica. I'm just kidding. That was a dig on Katy, not you.
You called her dumb, and that was a dig on me.
Yes.
Please explain.
I'm
Mensa member, paying Mensa member.
Because I was saying, and Katy ruins the pool. Yeah, Katy doesn't usually drop the F-bombs. That's me.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We love you. Happy Sunday. Have a great week. We will see you next week. Again, make sure you follow the Boss Reseller Remix Instagram. And if you haven't signed up already for the website, sign up. We don't spam you. We're just going to send you an email or two from there.
Yep.
But the website, same thing, resellerremix.com. That's where you're going to see all of the speakers and all of the information leading up to the events, the panels, the topics, all that cool stuff.
Yeah. And please, please, please go follow me on Whatnot, and especially bookmark my show on Tuesday. It's going to be at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 o'clock Eastern time. I'm going to be selling pretty much all of my vintage movie t-shirts, you guys. There's some crazy ones, and you could get one for crazy cheap. So please come follow me. All right, we're gonna go be old ladies and eat some 4:45 dinner and play some bingo.
For sure.
You ready? You're so ready for. She's so ready.
starving.
Shelly is so ready. She's starving.
My stomach
and she's
is
ready
growling.
for bingo. Bye, bitches.